my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. We have graduated from 108 to, we have a 109,000 subscribers here at YouTube. Yay! So our friend Marie in North Carolina made this great sign, all the numbers. She even made me a little holder to put the numbers in so I can keep using them. So I thought I'd compare. Over at Facebook, we have almost 420,000 people, which is like what, 3 times as many people? For some reason, people on Facebook do not watch YouTube that much. There are some of you that do both, of course, but there is a large community here that are just on YouTube, and then a good portion of Facebook doesn't come over here to YouTube, and they miss out on all my videos. And so this is my primary place, because this is where I can really talk to you about things. You always are going to see my videos if you're interested, versus the community groups where you may not see a post from me, even though I post about 4 times a day. Anyway, that's just the way things are in groups. So my home base is here at YouTube with all of you. Okay, so today there's a couple different things. So we're going to do Millie's dresses are kicking off today. I also have I'm going to do the setting for the block a day, the toffee bars. We're going to go ahead and cut the triangles and lay it out so you can see what that whole thing looks like. Before we do that, my Stanley mug came. I left the paper on so far. I haven't taken it off yet, haven't washed it yet, just came. So this is the one that's for the Lunar New Year, and I just thought it was gorgeous in the red with the design on the bottom. And these are the smaller of the 2 sizes. These are the 30 ounce, which is still a lot. It's still big, but yeah, I like it. I like it. So I now have 2 Stanley, the original from, 40 years ago that I got, and this one. Okay, also, this month there are several Annie's books on sale at the Fat Quarter Shop for the whole month, including this one, and they are 30% off. That's massive, because these are very reasonably priced books. So you could go pick up a couple of them that speak to you. This is the one where we're doing Christmas all year. My friend, my bestie, Wendy's book, Christmas Quilts. It's well worth. It's only like $6 and something right now. I mean, totally worth it, right? There's more of the quilts on the back. So cute, so cute. You have to have it. Okay, what else before we go to there? Okay, today, the month of March is plaid month. So today I thought we would celebrate plaids and share your plaid quilts. So quilts that actually look like a plaid, because there are many designs out there like that, or quilts that have plaid fabrics in them. There was I don't know how long you have been quilting, but if you were quilting back in the late 80s, early 90s, plaids were a huge thing. Like every fabric line had plaids in it. And often they were woven, so the woven plaids, which are double-sided. They might have been brushed cotton on one side that felt a little bit fuzzy, like they weren't flannel, but they were a little bit fuzzy, a brushed cotton. Anyways, I had a lot of older quilts that had lots of plaid in them. It was a thing. It was a thing. All right, let's look at Millie's dresses. So it is Millie Monday. We're going to do Millie's dresses. This is a Lori Holt pattern, and her mercantile fabric line is all around sort of the history of a mercantile store that was in her family, and Millie, I believed, was a great grandma that owned that store. So there's a lot of stories you can read through the things that Lori Holt is doing. I just fell in love with these little dresses because they reminded me of the dresses that my grandmas wore, and my great grandmas always wore dresses. I know my grandmas both did wear slacks, but they did wear dresses a lot as well. So I thought that they were super cute. I am using Tilda fabric, and the Tilda fabric I picked I had a bundle a while back, and it's called Bloomsville. So I'm going to show you the blocks, but first let me tell you the plan. So we're going to do 2 blocks a week, and then borders for a 7-8 week quilt along. So all through March and April, basically. Towards the end of April, we'll be done. So 2 blocks a week. So let me show you my blocks. Here is the first one from the Tilda fabric, and what I did then was use my fabric line here as the accent. So I've got this small scale print from my fabric, Sleepover, and that print is just been so good. There's several different colors, and I've used it with the different dresses depending on what color was in the dress. I picked that small scale print to work with it because this is a place to use great big fabrics. You could also use clothing that you might be saving to make a memory quilt out of. Maybe you have some old aprons. They would just be gorgeous in here. And you wouldn't have to maybe make the top. Like if you just wanted to maybe make the vintage fabric here or your memory fabric here, then you can match it with the top. They don't have to be the same. If you don't have maybe a lot of it, you could, mix and match a little bit. So here is my second one, because this Bloomsville has quite a large scale, some quite large scale prints in it. And the ladies are just gorgeous. Look at them. And so see there, I've got the teal accents to go with the teal block. So let me show you the two of them together, side by side. Look at this. Look. Great, right? So they are, easy to follow block. Of course, there's always smaller pieces when you're dealing with blocks like this. So you might experiment with starching some of your fabric if that's something you enjoy doing. Or if you've never tried it, try it for this one since there are some smaller pieces. Let me show you how easy this construction is. I'm just going to show you the components of the dress so that you can visualize the dress broken into its basic units. Just strips, a big unit for the skirt with sew-and flips, more strips for the waist and the waistband and the sides. And then up here is another rectangle with sew-and flips at the corners, 2 little shoulder rectangles of fabric, and then here is a rectangle with 3 sew-and flips at the top and then the bottom and the sides to make the arms, and then just a little flying geese unit. And so there you go. That's all the components for the dress. See how easy that is? The flying geese are probably the little tedious part because they're small flying geese. It's tiny. It's a tiny one. But maybe you want to do some starch on those or not. You can still do it without starching. But it's just so easy. It's just a simple construction and you will have beautiful dresses. Now, another thing I saw, and I didn't see it. Somebody in our community mentioned this. It was probably in YouTube comments is where I saw it. But they said there's a book, a children's book called The 100 Dresses. Who knows about this book? Leave a message in the comments. Tell me in the comments here at YouTube, like if you know about this book, and also if your grandma wore dresses, your great-grandma wore dresses, do dresses like this speak to you? We're kind of in a clothing thing, aren't we, with what's in your closet with our Black Wednesday? But the 100 Dresses, now I have not read it yet, but Wanda wears the same faded blue dress to school every day. Yes, she says she has 100 beautiful dresses all lined up. The other girls don't believe her, and when Peggy starts a daily game of teasing Wanda about the 100 dresses, everybody joins in. Not until Wanda fails to come to school one day that her classmates learn the truth about the 100 dresses, and Maddie and Peggy learn the meaning of kindness and the generosity of spirit. Now, I'm sure that this is a beautiful story. I do have to read it. I'll link it to you on Amazon. But I would love to know if you've read it, because I think I want to read it. And there's in our family 2 little girls, and one of the, kids of one of the kids and so my brother's grandkids, and so I thought that this might be something I send to them. Who knows? Okay, so that's the dresses and the plan. So you can pick up the book, the pattern rather, you can pick up the pattern. On the back there's all the fabrics that are the mercantile fabrics if you want to use those, or just pick something you have. You could use just about anything for these dresses. And that's a pretty big space. So your large scale prints, that's as big as my hand. So large scale prints are just perfect for here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, let's talk about block a day and the on-point setting and getting that going so that we can be sewing rows as we go. Perfect, right? Just perfect. That way by the end of March, you actually have a whole quilt top. Okay, let me just get it ready. Before we go on to block a day, I have a couple things. One is right here, and this is our lantern kit for the quilt along that we're going to be doing with my new Paradise Park, which is the same fabric I'm using for the block a day. But isn't this fabulous? So you can get the kit. You can also just get the pattern. So if you've already bought some fabric, or maybe you want to use one of my prior fabric lines, or somebody else's fabric line, don't tell me if you are, you can get just the pattern as well. You don't, but the kits are out there now. You can get them available. The kit includes the pattern and enough fabric for the binding. Then you can pick up your favorite print to do the backing, or maybe one of my Harmony wide backs. This will start in April, so you have time to get everything together. I have put a project page out on my Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. This was listed also in April on the page 2 of our calendar. So I'm super, super excited. I love the look of this. And the Fat Quarter Shop calls the kits a different name than they call the pattern. That's just how they do things. So the kit is called Lanterns and the pattern is called Evergreen. And you get a digital copy of the pattern as well. So it's available in digital or in print. And then I have a few sweet things that came in the mail that I want to share with you. First is from Tracy in Colorado. Look at that card. Little blue bird of happiness, don't you think? Well, it's turquoise bird of happiness. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And she sent me a goodie. She sent me a Starbucks card. Thank you. Mwah. I definitely use those. They're welcomed all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, what have we got over here? This is from Sue in Arizona. Look at this card. Look here. Look how sweet this is. It's called Wonderlust, by the original artist. Such sweet notes you all sent me too. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this was such a fun surprise. It was all wrapped pretty with this bow in this beautiful white box. Just gorgeous. I did open it and see it already, but the bow I didn't put back on, but I just had to show you the bow, the gingham bow. I'm saving it. And inside is the most precious and soft little hedgehog ever. Look at her. Just look at her little face, at her little mushroom, her little baby mushroom. Oh, and she is so soft. This is so soft. This feels like my brother has a bulldog that feels like this. I mean, literally. Lola felt like this. She was so soft. I love it. Mwah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I have another note that came, and this is very precious. This is very, very sweet and very, very heartfelt from Paula in California. Paula made one of our quilt-alongs, the Sweet Dreams. And she sent me a picture. This was her Sweet Dreams. And she decided to give this to a young woman in her community that was struggling with some health issues, and gave this to her. This beautiful woman then wrote a thank you note to Paula, but she also wrote a thank you note to me. I'm just floored and just so touched by that. And so this is the darling little card that came from the lady who received the quilt. So just makes me teary. It really does. It really does. People are just so amazing. You are all a wonderful, wonderful community. Mwah. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being part of my life. You just enrich everything I do. Okay, we're going to talk about this layout for block a day. Our block a day is different because it's 2 different blocks and you have a setting, and depending on colorations, people might be doing, those of you plus me, or maybe doing a little bit more controlled color sewing than in previous blocks when they were, you know, a different sort of format. But anyways, I had a couple questions. One is that people asked could they, was it recommended? Could I, would I? Because I often just do one block at a time, and I don't cut a lot in advance. But here we have a lot of repeats. And so people are asking, would it be recommended to cut some of this in advance and sew? Well, of course, some of you already have because you just do things. But for those of you who are waiting for permission to do this, let me tell you why I would, in this case, cut some in advance. Let's look at the 2 blocks. So we have a lot of repeat going on. These blocks here, all of them will have navy and light blue in some variation. All of these will have the stripe. So these will all have stripes. So I don't have any problem, and I'm going to cut the rest of my stripes. So I'm going to, I'm going to cut all the stripes, and I've already cut some of the light blue and the dark blue just because I was cutting to do some blocks, so I just cut more. The other thing is there's going to be repeats of my fabrics. My fabrics themselves will repeat some. This block here, there are 20, and I don't have 20 different navy blocks, navy centers. So I will cut, like I just cut for, these 2 days that I'm going to sew. I cut an extra because I just cut 2 at a time. But I might more purposely go and maybe cut all of these. This might be one that I do actually go ahead and cut a bunch of stuff in advance. Like these. These are all going to be, this polka dot's in the same spot because I'm not varying this one. Some of you are. Some of you are different centers here, different pieces here. You're not doing the imagery, having it come out like mine visually, because you'll have different fabrics in here rather than all the same like polka dot. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and cut a bunch in advance and then just sew along during the month, yeah, it works. Plus the settings are all the same, and I'm going to probably go ahead and cut all that. The thing is, if you cut all that, you need to be able to store it. You have to have some way of storing it. So I tend to use just those blue containers, and I have to see whether I can kind of group them or put them in bags so that I don't get them all just tossed in there like a crazy mess. So anyway, let me just show you one quick thing. I've cut one of the other block A's and part of this block A, but I am going to need the strip that goes on the sides. This is the part I'm talking about here. This is always the red. And so I need some strip on the sides. And remember, these are my strike-offs. My other fabric should arrive any day. It's not here yet, but it should. This is, yeah, we'll see. We'll see when it gets here. Should get here soon. So what I have is I'm just going to cut, I could cut the 2.5-inch strip like this, and then subcut it into the 4-inch, 4.5, subcut into the 4.5. And I have this extra stuff I need to get rid of, but I will go ahead and cut all this strip up, cut this whole strip up so that I have just the 4.5s that I need. All right, let's now look at the, let me get the polka dot out for the sides, and then we're going to go up to the design wall. So we'll first talk about the polka dots for the sides, cutting them, then we'll go to the design wall. I'm using my big 20.5-inch square to do the 13-inch strip, and from the 13-inch strip, I will subcut 13-inch squares. And so now here's the strip, and I'll just rotate it. First I would just want to trim off. You can either trim first or afterwards the selvage here. So I want to get rid of that. And then I will be getting a 13-inch square, and I'm doing this double-sided. It's doubled, right? See, it's doubled. So I'm just doing 2 at a time because I'm going to need them. Okay, so we'll do I like to line up, a line on the bottom, a line on the side. So we've got a 13-inch square. And then this will be cut into the other block units, those strips. you know, so that won't go to waste. You could actually, can I open it? Yeah, I can press that out, press the crease out, and get another 13-inch block out of there, because you need 4 of them. So at this point now, I have to subcut it twice, just like the diagram shows you. See, got the diagram right there. So we're going to subcut it twice, and I just use the same 20.5-inch ruler. If you don't have one of these, you should. I also use it when I'm trimming quilts, finished quilts. It's a great, great ruler. So if they slide apart a little bit, it's okay, because these are oversized. All right, get this stuff out of the way so I don't trim it by accident. And now I am going to do across the other way. Here we go. And you'll need to do 2 more sets, you know, so another 2 squares for 4 squares total. There are smaller setting squares on the 4 ends. On the 4 ends, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4. I do those last. I don't need to do those now. I'll just do them last. So it's one less thing I have to have laying around to keep track of. So, okay, let's go up to the design wall and lay these horizontal rows out. So here's the pattern again, and remember, these are all different, these B blocks, and so you need to have them aligned in order to get the effect that my quilt has of how those little squares interact. But the A blocks are all the same. Now, somebody did ask me about the stripes. Did they all have to go the same way? Well, that's really up to you. Do you want them all to go the same way? I am, but you don't have to. Okay, so we're going to take these, and you're just going to place them just as it shows. The long edge is on the outside, and if you are worried about stretch, I just find if I sew normal, like I don't pull, I don't really have any stretch with the bias. But if for some reason you are feeling, you know, like uncomfortable with that, you could starch these. There we go. See? Oh my goodness, look at that. Let me put the other 2 up. Okay, look at the layout. So we've done this, not the ends. I didn't do that. And here. So there's 2 rows. There we are. Looking so good. All right, so I'm like, I can sew all this. I can sew this vertical. So I sew this to here, this to here, and then repeat on row 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then sew these 2 together, and then that is complete. You will have that section done, and this is up to date for 4 days, March 4th. You can see it is super easy to do something on point. You're just sewing those rows in sort of a horizontal fashion. But it is a lot of fun to be able to put it together as we go. And so here I have just the parts that I've cut so far. It isn't a total of everything, but I think I definitely will go through for some of these basics, like the polka dots and the cornerstones, and get them all cut, and probably cut some other stuff too. I'll probably just go ahead and cut quite a bit on this particular quilt along. All right, my friend, be sure that you pick up your kit for the lantern so you're ready in April, or at least get the pattern, and you're ready for that. And do your Millie dresses. So, and if you haven't decided to join in on that yet, maybe we'll just make a couple. Little 4-block wall hanging would be super cute. All right, my friend, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online. Couldn't find my clicker.